Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now let's take it to Britain. Now we had to fight over the weekend. Your boy Lewis Ritson, he won against a fighter Miguel Vasquez. Now it was controversial. Most people had Miguel Vasquez winning. Now that happens in boxing law all the time. But the Judge Terry O'Connell, who judged it 98-92 for Ritson, right? Now, that can happen too. Bad scores, Adelaide Bird and stuff like that. We know them. You're gonna have bad scores from time to time. But we scrutinize the judges. Things I say they shouldn't have earphones. They should have earphones on. We can't hear nothing else from the crowd. They shouldn't be influenced by the crowd. But one damn thing they shouldn't be doing is looking at their cell phone in the middle of judging a fight when it's so important. Judging a fight is underestimated. It is definitely very important. It changes people's lives, right? So it should be, like I say, after they judge, especially a card or a bad fight or something, they should go into a so-called justification booth where they got to speak to two or three other guys and explain how they score in this round and why, right? Look at the fight again. Therefore, they should be compensated as such. It's not a problem, but I do think that it's not a problem. It is a problem. They need to really do something about that. Now, this Terry O'Connell, he's infamous also because of that scorecard with Tyson Fury and John McDermott. I talk about that fight all the time. Most fighters, even the greatest and undefeated fighters, they always have a couple of close fights in between there a little bit. You know what I mean? Every one of them. Even Floyd Mayweather had that close one against Castillo. You have a couple of close fights. Well, I always mention that McDermott fight because I think McDermott nicked that fight, right? And he got, 98-92 for Tyson Fury. Now, that's 10 years ago, right? But it changes John McDermott's life if he gets that win. One, when they had the rematch and Tyson Fury stops him, he would have got paid a lot more. And two, he would have just been able to do other things. His boxing life would have changed uh, significantly, for sure. And that's why these things are important. A lot of people, well, it's been 10 years ago. There's no reason to open up those can of worms and everything like that. When you had unjust things done to you, even if it's 10 years ago, you're not mad that justice finally comes. Justice takes a long time. It's never like karma's pretty much never instant, right? It takes a little time for justice to come through there. So yes, Terry O'Connell is going to have to go to the British Boxing Board of Control and explain himself and see what's going on because those pictures of him looking at his cell phone in the middle of judging the fight are alarming to say the least. So everybody's been weighing in on that. I think we should keep our eye on this one here because then they need to go back and talk to him about that John McDermott thing too because, you know, somebody need to tell McDermott, yeah, man, you got that win. Or you won that fight because that was one guy had it for McDermott, the other one had it for Tyson Fury, and then he has it like way by a landslide for Tyson Fury, and that's not a fight that no one's seen or no one saw at that time. So it is something that we need to be doing. Let's check in to Terry O'Connell because if he's able to look at your cell phone during the fight, that means you already know what you're gonna say. You already know what you're gonna write, right? And that's exactly what we don't want in the judging. We all think that this is happening, right? But sometimes you can't prove it. This might be a case where you can prove it. So let's keep your eye on that. I don't have any confidence in British Boxing Board of Control and UKAD and things like that because of other things that we've talked about all the time. I won't have to get into, but it's certain things that have happened where you're like, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to do anything about it? We're talking Dillian White or Tyson Fury. Certain things that, you're like, nobody does anything about that. So let's see. That's the same thing as somebody would say, hey, the WBC did this, or Golden Boy did this, or Top Rank did this. I would also be skeptical. So it's not an England thing. It's a boxing thing. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens going forward. I'll be interested to know what happens to Judge Terry O'Connor to see if he learns from this or if they do anything about it or what happens, to Miguel Vasquez, for example, who's got the loss that he probably didn't have. Let's see. Very interesting stuff. Dome Sports Talk Worldwide. I'm up out of here, y'all.